your indexes, they're looking better. If you're looking at market breadth itself, market breadth is looking better. So this is your percentage of stocks over your 200-day moving average. You've had a really good bounce in breadth so far. If you're looking at the T2108, right? So these are just different ways of measuring market breadth. Right now, if you're doing a 5-day short on it, right, up 78% last 5 days. So your market breadth is improving considerably. One of the things to just be mindful of is when we were taking kind of this dump of the last month, that kind of bottomed out last week or so. When we were doing that, the market breadth was really, really bad, right? And declining considerably. We went from 70 to 17 for those of you guys that have been with us for years. Anything under 20 on the T2108 is usually an extreme oversold level. That's usually a time where you load up or start looking at loading up, swing trades, and also looking at potential bounces. I've seen it get as low as, the 10s and stuff like that, but it's rare. You only get a couple chances every year to get it under 20. Usually get 2 good chances a year. So, we got all the way under 20. So now we've, had a very, very good improvement in market breadth, beyond just like Apple computers going up. There's been a whole host of stocks that are actually been making moves. You can see here, we had 774 breakouts a couple of days ago. And even yesterday, which was a flat day in the market indexes for the most part, right? You were at 300 breakouts. So this is starting to change. And this is really what you want to see. Hey, Laura, how you doing? I noticed you haven't been uploading your trades either. But this is good. So I think this is a very healthy thing for the market. You can see here, like we've had very few breakdowns the last couple of days. And this is like what you really want to see in the market. Beyond that, you always want to think of, okay, like what's happening in the market. You want to think indexes, market breadth, and then you want to really be thinking like, what's the eye test, right? So what do you mean by the eye test is like, has the price action actually, when you're in trades, been following through? Like, have we actually been able to have range on stocks? Like, are we picking names and they're actually giving range? So like you can see yesterday, really the market was just kind of at the same spot as the previous day, but you had a lot of stocks that had like some really good range. And so one of the things that you're doing when you're judging price action is like, okay, are dips getting aggressively bought, right? That indicates that there's some buyers in it, and that'll give you an idea of like really kind of how aggressive you want to trade. So when you see stuff like this, like where stocks dump off at the open and then get immediately bought up, that's really a good sign. You can see like this Roblox, like you dump off at the open and you get bought up. That's a really good sign, right? That's an indication that, hey, beyond just what we see in the indexes, right, the price action is getting much better. So all things in all, if you like longing stocks, then, the market is acting pretty good for you. It was also fun when it was dumping, but whatever. Let's take a look at the market in terms of earnings plays, PRs. Let's go see, what's the new latest hot turn that just wants to get played around with today. It looks like this IIN, which is got a history of making moves. It went from $2 to $10, about a month ago in the end of October. This one's got some PR out here. I can only imagine what kind of fucking PR they probably put out there, saving, donkeys in Nepal. Like, hey, in the middle of Bhutan, we have tested a goat's testicles and found out that it has a link to lowering instances of Alzheimer's in gorillas. And you're like, ah, shit, that's hot. Oh, hey, like, hey, gap and go, here we go. Gap and go, here we go. So this thing is actually, you know what? Why not, right? Like that's the kind of stocks that are running right now. You can see this ENSS is like another one. You get a big base breakout over here. Probably the float is super tiny. And, these type of things, like it really just depends on like what kind of degenerate with the big Discord room is going to make it move. And they can move. It's already got 18 million shares in volumes. So this one, INN, like both of these can be played. If you're into them, I would be surprised if I take them unless it's just like really juicy. EVGO, so this is a battery company, already 1 million shares in volume. It looks like JP Morgan is giving it a little bit of a overweight. So when you think about this, and I check analyst ratings in the mornings. When you have, like a company, when you get like a bunch of upgrades at once, especially like if you get 3 or 4 upgrades in a day, that's usually ideal. Those are like when like a coin or a stock or whatever it might be that you're looking at can really, really get going. In general, this is also like, I mean, that's still a 70% increase. Like this is probably something because due to the volume and stuff and, the fact that this was a hot one just a little bit ago, I would actually add this to the list. That's probably, I would say that's like, maybe a priority. Like if we can get a good setup on it, you can't chase this thing up, obviously 10%. If it pulls back, starts to hold, builds out some kind of level, I think we're going to get a good, we'll probably get a good spot. Sienna fiscal Q4 earnings. Hey, so this kind of sector has been super hot this year. This is a stock that is breaking out 2 highs. I mean, Sienna has been around for a long time. This was actually one of the first stocks that I was looking at back in my college days. This in Juniper Networks, which I believe is still around. These were all kind of the hot ones back in the day. You got a big time breakout here. If you really look at this, like if you're going to a weekly chart, you haven't been, you're breaking out levels that, you haven't been in quite some time. Hold on here. And when that happens, like that indicates like this will be like, this could be a stock that's in play for like months, right? So this is a monthly chart. You can see here, you're really kind of clearing out some levels here. Yeah. I mean, this is like probably a, over a decade long breakout. I like it's a buenos, that's a right sector, right time, right chart. We've seen these kind of chip makers, communications makers, your routers and touters and all this kind of stuff. We've seen them really start to fly. I think this is probably going to give us a chance at it today. I'd add it to the list. Now, this is not like the hot moving day trader for the most part. We'll have to take a look and see, like, is it going to have any range on it? Like, how's it really acting? You never know. The chart is there. And as long as there's liquidity, then I think we can take a shot. A little bit of a red flag so far is that it's only got about 149,000 shares in volume, which is for this particular name is probably in the norm because it only does about 2 million a day. But let's see. We really need to see about 400, 500,000 shares fire off at the open. If we can get that, then I think we'll be in a good spot. ISPC, man, look, this chart is okay. If you look at how it moves like individually, you can't really, this is probably, hey, Miss Betsy, how you do it? You can see here, this is not really, it's not that tradable for the most part. Like this is probably something, you can trade it, but like you would have to have like a looser stop. You'd have to take into account the wicks on it. And if you do that, then, you could probably, if it starts to kind of push through these, you may go. But like this one, LGVN, like they had their day. And, now they're just kind of in this, pop and drop kind of phase. But they are rounding like enough to like just tease you, if that makes sense. But like they've thinned out a lot. And so what happens is like, this was obviously the big push. And, now this is going to be basically like the suckers push, like the odds of it really breaking the old highs is very small. But like you'll get some action, but they become incredibly a lot tougher because the liquidity has died down considerably. This is like another one. You set an alert here, and if it goes, it goes. But really, the liquidity is gone, so they just trade a lot. They just trade harder. OCGN, junk. BFRI, junk. CPIX, junk. So this Twitter's got some Twitter acquired, blah, blah, blah. This is probably due for a bounce, but this stock is just not like something fun to trade, meaning I've never had any luck trading this. If anybody's actually ever made money on this, you let me know. Hey, Jay, how you doing? Let me see on the DKS. Dix. Dick's Sporting Goods. Welcome to Dick's. Would you like to buy a little bit of a basketball, a baseball, maybe a catcher's mitt? Welcome to Dick's. It's probably due for a bounce just because it went from all-time highs to the 200-day moving average. In terms of insider buys, this we're not, we're not Alex Jones here, right? Well, I've heard from an insider that two people from the Clinton administration are meeting in the Bohemian Grove, and they are talking about poisoning the frogs in the water supplies to turn your girls that are in elementary school into males and then make the males think that they're girls. Because I've got an insider. The Bohemian Grove, So, Jay, I don't know about the insider thing, but I do probably think it's due for a little bit of a bounce. Da-da-da-da. Whoa, the Fubolicious. JP Morgan starts Fubo TV at overweight, 28 price target. These things do kind of get these things bouncing, but the chart on this kind of stinks. Pass. CVS has got actually a nice breakout on it. CVS raises F21 sales, EPS guidance, unveils 10 million shares, $10 billion share buyback, increase in the annual dividend. This is probably not like a huge ranging kind of play because it's CVS. This is a breakout, and these kind of things, like when you have this is an earnings, a share buyback, a dividend raise, I'm probably there's going to be a slew of upgrades that come in on this. If it actually holds, this might be one of those that turns into like a trend or grinder, meaning if it kind of dips off at the open and it ends up holding, you may just see it start to inch up the whole day. Like you see a lot of those, with the little bit bigger floats do that. The daily chart on this is really nice. Sometimes, we look at these things and we're like, well, it's a CVS, but we see a lot of times, at the end of the day, you're like, fuck, John Deere trended today, or CVS trended today, or Target trended today, and you're like, I could have played that. Because I would actually add this to the list. It's not going to be, it's not going to be some sexy Lexi, but it's going to be, it could be a Buenos. I'd add it. You never know. Sometimes if they start to trend, you can hop on and ride it for a couple points. IONQ. Goldman, no PR on this today. It's just been hanging out. This is another one. I know Justice got this on the list. I would put an alert at yesterday's highs. If it cooks over that, you may start to see a little bit of a push. When it goes, it goes. The chart itself is okay, but it's starting to round. And everybody's been asked about this LGVN, and we tried to play this a little bit yesterday. This is one of those names. If you're in first, is great. If you're coming in last or post, move even by 30, 40 cents, it changes your reward to risk profile so much on it. And then also stresses you out, and you're at such a risk of getting into the knife, and it kind of makes you always sell into the little pullbacks. So this is one of those ones you could totally put it on your list. You can do stuff with it, do butt stuff with it. Sorry. But you got to really get this one right on the support spots, right before the moves or right when the move starts. If you're even a little bit late on them, it really ends up acting stressful. So if you're a chaser, or if you're somebody that waits for alerts, stuff like that, if you wait for alerts, if you're an alert waiter, then it's not for you. The best ways to really trade when you're watching people live or in chat rooms is using them as a guide of, hey, these are things that could move. These are things that are happening, but if you're okay, somebody says I'm buying this, and then you're sitting there pulling it up, and then, 30 seconds later you buy it, you're always late, and it never really works out like that. So this is one of those ones, if you're trading on your own and you start to see it set up and you can get in first, you're good. But if you got to come in last, you're no good. Okay. It does look nice though. Chunk, 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 chunk. A lot of people have been asking me about this DocuSign. We'll keep filling the gap. Yeah, you might have another day or two in it because it's just down so much. But I wouldn't go in with like this. This is like some hot opportunity. They got, dusted on their earnings. It was when you're down 100 points on the day of your earnings, that's a no buenos right there, right? It's like getting caught on your wedding day doing a little makeout party with one of the bridesmaids. Once you do that, right, like, people are going to look at you very suspiciously. You can't really come back from that, So that's there. You got to be real careful on these kind of names. I got it on my list, but I don't know how much upside it has minus a couple more days. All right, let's take a look at the regular watch list. We had an inside day on NVIDIA yesterday. What I mean by inside day is, you had a big trend a couple days ago. You had a big trend this day. It ran for about 20 points. You had an inside day yesterday, which kind of actually just mimicked the market in itself. But usually after like NVIDIA, after a rest day, an inside day does typically start to get pushed. Let's keep this on watch for a red to green. All right, play number 2. Roku had a PR out that, they're not on the bad side of YouTube or something yesterday. It was acting really well. First of all, the trend on it was hot. We were looking at this around here yesterday, and we think we missed it. Well, I missed it. I was staring at it, 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 staring at it. And before you knew it, it popped 40 points, 30 points. Now today, what we want to do, you've got kind of a 260 spot on the level over there. It may take it out even at the open. Roku, when it sometimes goes, it'll move very fast because it's got a spread at the open. It trades really thin. And so like if it pushes through you and you can get it at the right spot, you might catch like a $5 or $6 candle like really, really quickly. If you don't catch it at the right spot, you may lose $5 or $6 very, very quickly too. So you just got to be super mindful of that. I think anything over previous day's high on this is going to be pretty good. And then after that, so we got NVIDIA, we got Roku. I would add this DWAC into it. You had a really nice move yesterday, and then there were some good bounces on it. And then it looks like it ran into the close. This is another one. Like if it starts, it's opening down about 5%. If this thing starts to round and kind of push over, the previous day's high, then we're going to be good to go, So keep an eye on this one. It trades with a big spread. It is a little bit illiquid. So you just got to be super careful when you're looking at this one to say like, all right, am I getting this at the right spot or am I not getting this at the right spot? That's going to be the whole ball game on it. But I think those are going to be the focus list. And then of course, we have our regulars like the Robloxes and, stuff like that, which also looks like it's got a good chart on it. You had to remount the multiple moving averages yesterday. So I think that one's going to be pretty good too. Yes, we do have boot camp class starting tonight. I'll be on 8 p.m. Eastern time. I would plan on class running 2 hours, give or take. We'll start everybody off as always at the basics. These are charts. These are moving averages, blah, blah, blah. This is how you use your TC2000. This is how you set it up. These are the layouts. This is how things interact with each other. And then we'll start building on from there. For all you guys that have already taken boot camp, you should be taking it as many times as you can. I always add a little bit of new flavor to things. But, most of the students that are really, really good, they pop in and out, whether it's in the chat room or the boot camp or everything. I've seen people come in that were taking class 10 years ago. Oh man, we should probably not say 10. I'm going to start saying like, many years ago. Stuff just make me feel old. Good. All right, that's the list. I'm sticking to it. That's the list. Let's have some fun today. Let's make our 6 window layouts. I think for the 6 windows, we're going Roku, DWAC, EVGO, NVIDIA, Roblox. We might add one of these little guys too. Right? Shit. All right. Yeah, I think that's a good top 6. Add DWAC in. Cool. Well, let's go have some fun. Mr. Mike, good. I'll see you there, buddy. No, no, no.